Series history, tying up the series with the Atlanta Braves at 2 games each. The Yankees beat the Braves 8-6 in Game 4. They rallied from a 6-0 deficit. So far, both teams have lost their games at home. Their at-home games, rather. Game 5 of the World Series is tomorrow night in Atlanta. A hospital source says Dr.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Late Night. I'm Nancy Newman.
And I'm Barry LeBrock. We start tonight with baseball and ho-hum. Yeah. Just another baseball game in October, right?
Well, if you went to sleep with the Braves comfortably ahead, you'll be rubbing your eyes in the morning when you read the headlines. Away from the distractions that New York, albeit home, brings, the Yankees finally managed to beat the Braves in Game 3, but that is already history. The Yankees needed another win to draw even with the defending champs and guarantee the World Series' return to the Bronx, or once again face a 2-game deficit, this time just 1 loss away from watching an Atlanta repeat. A couple of lefties on the hill. Kenny Rogers for New York, Denny Nagel for the Braves. Rogers looking at Freddie McGriff, who gets things started in a hurry. Deep to center in the second. The solo homer, 1-zip Braves. Bottom 2, runners on the corners. Jeff Blauser lays down the bunt, the squeeze play. Javi Lopez scores. Nobody is covering first. Still 1 out. Then Denny Nagel's sacrifice bunt moved the runners to second and third, and Marquise Grissom delivers the 2-out double to left center. Andrew Jones and Jeff Blauser score. It is 4-0 Atlanta. Top of 6, 6-3 Braves, 2 on, none out. Mike Bilecki now in for the Braves. Strikes out the side, getting Tino Martinez swinging to the 8th with 2 on. Braves go to Mark Wohlers. Jim Leyritz kisses it goodbye. The 3-run homer to left, and it's a tie ball game at 6. To extras they went. In the 10th with 2 on, Braves walk Bernie Williams to load the bases. Steve Avery versus the last man on the Yankees bench, Wade Boggs, full count. Avery walks him. Tim Raines touches home. 7-6 Yankees take the lead. Bases still loaded. Brad Klontz to Charlie Hayes. The soft liner to first. The new first baseman Ryan Klesko loses it in the lights. Derek Jeter scores. 8-6 Yankees. That would be the way it ended. The World Series is tied at 2 games apiece. New York comes all the way back from a 6-0 deficit, scoring 8 unanswered runs. Going into tonight, the Yankees were 6-0 on the road in these playoffs, make it 7-0. Our coverage from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium begins with our Bob Lorenz.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nancy, the Yankees have done some unbelievable things this season, but nothing more remarkable than what they did in Game 4 of the World Series. They not only won their 7th straight postseason road game, which is a record, but they did it by rallying from a 6-0 deficit, which makes their comeback the biggest in the World Series in 40 years.
Well, Jimbo came up with a big home run for us tonight. You know, that was a turning point in the ball game. We knew right there once we tied that ball game, we had a chance to win it.
Well, I wouldn't have gotten to the plate had Jimmy Lawrence hadn't hit the 3-run homer to tie the game. That was huge right there. I mean, that was basically the whole game. And when you're facing a guy like Mark Wohlers, throws 100 miles an hour, to do what Jimmy did, you know, it's a tremendous at bat.
Well, the Yankees have become the comeback kids. In fact, this is their 6th comeback in 13 postseason games. But when there's a big winner like that, that means that there's another team that fell apart. And Inga Hammond joins me now. And Inga, what happened to the Braves?
Well, you know, it's interesting. The Braves are kind of a business-like team that doesn't get 2 up after a win or 2 down after a loss. But blowing a 6-run lead and the way in which they did it has to be troubling. Mark Wohlers, the Braves' dominant closer, gives up a 3-run homer to tie the game, and then Bobby Cox has Steve Avery walk Bernie Williams to load the bases, and Avery proceeds to walk in the winning run.
I had Boggs down 1 and 2, and you know, obviously he's going to be defensive, but he just did a good job to lay off some tough pitches, and I couldn't throw a 3-2 first strike.
Why not? I mean, he's the best hitter they got. He's carried them through Texas. He's carried them through Baltimore. He's knocked the living hell out of us.
There's a situation, you don't want Bernie Williams hitting against you, and you have Fox on deck. You know, he's not sure I'm going to use Boggsy. It's one of those things, and even Boggsy, you know, you're talking lefty against lefty. I'd much rather face Wade Boggs with the bases loaded than Bernie hitting on the strong side.
You know, as soon as you hit it, I try to put, you know, you put it behind me as quickly as possible. You know, after you hit it, I came right back in the strike zone and got, you know, a couple quick outs. So, you know, the home run's forgotten. You know, you can't turn back the clock. You can't take the pitch back. You just try to learn from your mistakes.
Now, the Yankees win tonight means that the Braves will not be able to close out the series here at Fulton County Stadium as they had hoped as tomorrow night's game will be the final game played in this facility. And Bob, tomorrow night's game should be a great one with two probable Cy Young winners going head-to-head.
And the big question is which of these teams is going to leave with the lead going back to Yankee Stadium. You mentioned the pitching matchup. It's a rematch of Game 1. It's John Smoltz against lefty Andy Pettitte. Now, Smoltz, of course, was very dominating in the opener. 4-0 so far in the postseason. He gave up just 1 run to the Yankees in the Game 1 opener. Meanwhile, Andy Pettitte really struggled. Lasted just 2 1/3 innings and gave up 7 runs. So the Yankees hope that he can turn it around and get the Yankees back on track. That's going to do it for now from Fulton County Stadium. We will have a lot more coming up a little bit later in the show. But for now, for Inga Hammond, I'm Bob Lorenz. Let's go back to the studio. Nancy?
Thank you both. An off day Friday, Game 6 in New York, Game 7 in necessary, of course, also Sunday night in New York. The Yankees pull even 2 games apiece in a World Series that is now a best of 3. All that despite starters towing an ERA of over 9 in the series.
Now we move on to football.
Do that, there was a good chance. We knew if we could stay close and score a couple runs here and there. We had Mariano rested and John Weston. Now the way Graham's throwing the ball, we had all those guys down there. We could keep it in the game. And we felt that way all year. If we can keep it a 2 or 3 run ball game late in the game, our chances are pretty good of winning.
Winning 2 in a row and evening the series, do you feel like you've stolen the momentum now?
I think so. I think when you see Mark Wallers come in that situation, we're like, okay, they're going to bring him in early because they want to close this thing out. And he normally does. And like I said, fortunately for me, he hung a pitch that I got to hit, and it was the only mistake he made. But, it was a mistake that helped us, and like I said, I feel very fortunate.
You faced John Smoltz in Game 5. He was pretty dominant against you in the opener, but does it help having seen him already?
Oh, yeah, it helps a little bit. We haven't got a chance to see him that much, and I saw him maybe once or twice in spring training a couple years ago, but he's a completely different pitcher now. And, like I said, getting one time to see him, it helps a little bit.
All right, Jim, congratulations. The Yankees even the series. Game 5 is set for Thursday. It is John Smoltz going against lefty Andy Pettitte. That's going to do it for now. Let's go back to the studio.
All right, Bob, I'm not sure whether this speaks to the way the Yankees handle late-inning pressure or the weakness of the Braves bullpen, but of the 14 runs New York has scored this series, more than half of them, 8 of them, have come in the 8th inning or later. We are back with the play of the day, so stick around.